A couple of days ago, 7 students, all females from the University of Wyoming, appeared on the Megyn Kelly podcast. They are sorority sisters. They stopped by to discuss an issue that's really been bothering them for the past few months. No, it wasn't the latest thing they had to do to be a member of the sorority or the latest fashion on campus or dating life in general. No, it had to do with the fact that a man has now been admitted to the sorority. What? Yeah, that's right. A man has been admitted to the sorority. Hang on, everybody. I'm going to explain all of this in just a second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, 7 female students from the University of Wyoming at Laramie came on Megyn Kelly's podcast to talk about a lawsuit that they're involved in where they're bringing suit against the university and their sorority, Kappa Kappa Gamma. I want to play just a little bit from that podcast to sort of set up what we're going to discuss. Then we're going to take a look at the newspaper articles that all this has come out in, and then I'm going to give you my take on the whole thing. So let's go to the Megyn Kelly podcast, and we'll start this thing up right now.
The allegations in the complaint are shocking. Here's one of them. Alleging that he behaved inappropriately around the sorority sisters on numerous occasions, including once when Artemis, quote, had an erection visible through his leggings. Other times he had a pillow in his lap. There are similar stories going on about him watching the girls getting an erection, watching a girl change her top. She wasn't wearing a bra. He was staring at her. Later that day, he appeared sexually aroused during the incident. Somebody told the woman that they had seen that he appeared sexually aroused during the incident and stood near the door with his hands over his genitals. He sat in the back of the sorority yoga class for an hour in December, watching the assembled young women flex their bodies. I mean, I cannot imagine what it was like for you gals, Hannah, in there dealing with this obvious man, but also one who's clearly getting aroused by just.
Now, let me stop this for a second. The Artemis that they're referring to is a 21-year-old student, Artemis Langford. And when we get into the articles from the UK Daily Mail, you're going to get a better idea of who this individual is. Artemis Langford is born a biological male claiming to be a female and gained acceptance into the sorority. And if nothing else happens, come September of this year, Artemis Langford will move into the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority house. The things that are being talked about here are part of the legal complaint that has been brought by these young ladies against the university and against the national chapter of the sorority. So that sets everything up. We'll continue.
Being around you. Can you give us some idea of what that felt like for you?
It's a weird, gut-wrenching feeling that every time I leave my room, there's a possibility that I'll walk past him in the hall, whatever setting that may be in. And it's never a pleasant encounter. And that's the scary part. It's a weird feeling just to know that I could run into him anytime, full access to the house. But this just goes to show, like, we need women's spaces for that reason. Like our house is our home, just like any else's home. Like, you go home at the end of the day to feel comfortable and relax in your own skin. And you can't do that knowing that this individual has full access to your house.
Okay, we're going to stop this right here. I mean, there's more of it that could be played. It's about an 8.5 minute, almost 9-minute clip. Okay, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm already my disgust level is like, went from my toes clear up to here. Okay. Now, we're going to get into these articles from the UK Daily Mail. This lawsuit has been out since about tail end of March. These young ladies have broken their silence. They weren't named in the original complaint, but they've broken their silence. They're coming forward to the press, and they're talking about what's happened to them. So hang on, we're going to get into those newspaper articles in just one moment. UK Daily Mail articles, one from March 31st, and then one from a couple of days ago. I want to go back to the one from March 31st, which kicks this whole thing off, and then we'll come back around to the one that came out 2 days ago. But both of them contain much of the same information, but I really want you to get the feel for how this thing got started. So let's go to that UK Daily Mail article from the 31st of March. Headline: 7 sorority sisters sue University of Wyoming for admitting trans woman who they allege has, quote, voyeuristically peeped at them while visibly aroused. In a story by Alyssa Guzman for the dailymail.com, 7 sorority sisters have sued the University of Wyoming for admitting a transgender woman into their house over claims I'm not using that pronoun, voyeuristically peeped at them while visibly aroused. The women, who were not named in the lawsuit, and they've now come forward publicly to give their names, have sued the school as well as their transgender sorority sister, Artemis Langford, 21, who joined the chapter in September 2022. Langford, who is 6 foot 2 inches tall and weighs 260 pounds, will be moving into the Kappa Kappa Gamma house along with 50 other women. Although the 21-year-old currently lives outside the house, the girls say Artemis Langford is often in their sorority house watching them, and they have caught Artemis on at least one occasion with an erection. Going further into the article, from their complaint, quote, an adult human male does not become a woman just because he tells others he has a female, quote, gender identity and behaves in what he believes to be a stereotypically female manner, the lawsuit alleges, which refers to Langford under the male pseudonym Terry Smith. Further, the fraternity council has betrayed the central purpose and mission of Kappa Kappa Gamma by conflating the experience of being a woman with the experience of men engaging in behavior generally associated with women, the suit viewed by the Cowboy State Daily said. Now, I want to get a little bit further into this article. The executive director of the sorority, Carrie Cottrell Poole, told the Associated Press that the lawsuit contains numerous false allegations, but the sorority couldn't comment in detail. The lawsuit alleged that Mr. Smith Langford has, while watching members enter the sorority house, had an erection visible through his leggings. Other times, he's had a pillow in his lap. They also accused Artemis Langford of taking photos of them at a slumber party and to have made inappropriate comments. Quote, Smith alleged questioned the women about what vaginas look like. Well, yeah, you probably would since you don't have one. Breast cup size, whether women were considering breast reductions and birth control. Langford was repeatedly supposed to leave the party by 10 p.m., but stayed until midnight. Then, upon returning the next morning, reportedly stood in the corner watching the other girls change out of their pajamas. Okay, we're dealing with a creepy perv. Let's just cut to the chase. We're dealing with a creepy pervert. Okay? There's no other way getting around this. I'm sorry. The more you're going to read into this article, the more you're going to realize I'm absolutely right. So, apologies for the outburst, but screw it. It just needs to be said. Back to the article. One of the women claimed that she didn't know that her sorority sister had returned to the residence and had changed out of their pajama top without a bra on, and when she turned around, she found Langford staring at her, the complaint alleges. Fellow sisters reportedly later revealed to her that Langford had, quote, his hands all over his genitals and appeared sexually aroused. Jesus. Since that event, Mr. Smith, a.k.a. Artemis Langford, has repeatedly asked women about their romantic attachments. The women also claim that Langford is attracted to women, which they say is evident on Langford's Tinder profile through which he seeks to meet women. Another alleged she walked down the hallway in a towel, and she was sat at the back of the room during a yoga class in December and watched the assembled young women flex their bodies, which was alluded to a moment ago in the Megyn Kelly show. But I want to get to the part about how the vote took place. Listen to this. The women are also saying that many felt intimidated into inducting Langford into the sorority because their voting process, which promises anonymity, failed to do so. They were asked to fill out a Google form which asked them to identify themselves. Now this is starting to make sense about how this started to happen. In addition, while inducting Smith, the sorority improperly relied not on official bylaws, but a 2018 guide for supporting our LGBTQIA plus members that says Kappa Kappa Gamma is a single gender organization that admits both women and individuals who identify as women. Okay, y'all just hold that thought right there. We're going to come back to that when I start giving my thoughts on this whole thing. And believe me, I'm not holding anything back. Oh, this is going to be just. Anyway. The lawsuit against the National Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority, its national council president, Langford, claimed national sorority officials pressured the local chapter to violate sorority rules, including those for voting to induct new members. Quote, if you vote no, it better be for issues with that new member or else it's homophobic, one member said. If you have something to say that isn't kind or respectful, keep it to yourself. The lawsuit asks for a judge to declare Smith's sorority membership void and to award unspecified damages. Then from there, the rest of the article goes on to talk about the history of University of Wyoming, going all the way back to the days of Matthew Shepard in 1998. Now, we'll move on to this article from a couple of days ago in the UK Daily Mail. A lot of the same information. But some things we may need to just address. Let me take a quick peek here. No, I think that about covers everything. I thought I was going to need to use this article, and I guess I don't. Okay. All right, let's just get into it. You know, a lot of people in a moment like this would, if they didn't know the total background from at least reading these two articles, they would say, well, you ladies are getting what you deserve. I'm not doing that. And I'm not trying to do it because I'm being all high and mighty about it either. These young ladies are suffering through something they shouldn't have to. If they were pressured into voting this man, and that is exactly what he is. He is a man. He is not a woman. Okay? Let's just cut to the chase. This is not a woman. This is a biological male who's trying to say, I'm female, therefore I want into the sorority to be among the girls. Okay? It is quite obvious this is not a woman. When people can plainly see the girl getting an erection, you're not dealing with a girl, you're dealing with a man. Now, we're dealing with somebody who's creepy, who's voyeuristic, and I'm sorry, the way this person is behaving, if these allegations are true, and I have no reason to think that they're not, but if these allegations are true, the university needs to step in right now. Forget the lawsuit. Just step in right now, revoke this person's membership into the sorority, pay the unspecified damages, and end this. You know, this isn't an issue of ideology. This is an issue of biology, and furthermore, it's an issue of common sense. What in the infernal regions of Dante's hell is the University of Wyoming and Kappa Kappa Gamma doing, letting a biological male try to join a sorority? Well, they identify as a female. I don't give a hang in hell what they identify as. What they are is the issue at hand. They are a male. This Smith or Artemis Langford, whatever he wants to call himself, and that is the only pronoun I'll use in this case, this is an individual who is a male. And I'm sorry, the young lady at the very beginning of the video said, we need female safe spaces. No, I got a very simple idea. And I say this with respect and love and compassion to these young ladies. I got a much simpler idea. These spaces are for biological females. These spaces are for biological males. And that's the way it should stay. You want to solve this problem? University of Wyoming? Kappa Kappa Gamma? These very nice young ladies? Let's just go back to the old-fashioned way of doing it. And this will solve a lot of problems. If this young man, and I'll say it again, young man, is permitted to stay in this sorority, God forbid it happen, but it's not going to surprise me if down the road we hear about some young lady being assaulted. And how many incidences like this are we hearing about around the country these days? Ladies' gymnasiums and ladies' locker rooms where biological men who are trying to pass themselves off as women are going in there fully undressed, making everyone uncomfortable. And there's just all kinds of instances. Glenn Youngkin was elected governor of Virginia because of the things that went on in Loudoun County. Folks, we have got to get a handle on this thing. Now, I'm not trying to pass myself off as some kind of great white knight. I've got my faults and my failings too. But for whatever my faults and failings are, with all due respect to everybody out there, I've got the common sense to know this is a man, this is a woman. And it doesn't matter if the man dresses up like a woman, he's still a man. Now, there are individuals who are trans and they're choosing to live that way, and that's perfectly fine. But this, I'm sorry, he can claim, I'm a trans woman. I'm sorry, you're a man. You may, like Aretha Franklin, you might feel like a natural woman, but you're a man. I'm going to give a piece of advice, once again, to the University of Wyoming and Kappa Kappa Gamma. Settle this lawsuit now. Give these ladies whatever they want. Revoke Artemis Langford's sorority membership and walk away from this thing as fast as you possibly can. And if the university really wants to do the right thing here, I'll give you 3-word advice. Protect the women. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? Do me a favor. Leave me some comments below after this video is done. Number 2, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number 3, hit the bell for notifications. Number 4, give me a thumbs up on this thing. And number 5, spread the word around. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative. I'll see you next time.